0.1% doesn't seem much, however, what would horribly, catastrophically, go wrong if it was off by 0.1%? If 0.1% of all airline flights crashed, there would be around 87 crashes every day. Moving images on a Word document edit. Yes, I do actually know that wrap text exists. Just let me attempt to be funny also. Thank you kind strangers for the gold and silvers. Anything NASA does. Proton charge plus electron charge. Genetic engineering. You duck with 0.1% of genes and your baby has banana eyes. Rocket angled an extra 0.1% to the left. At larger distances that adds up. Hot water knob in shower. Carbon content in steel. Steel such as 1095 steel are literally just iron with 0.95% carbon in the composition. A difference of 0.1% carbon content would dramatically change the properties of the steel in question. This is true of other chemicals and alloys, but carbon is the most well-known. The United States Postal Service delivers 187.8 million pieces of first-class mail per year. If 0.1% of those go missing, that's 187,800 missing items. Did I say per year? I meant per day. https://fax.usps.com on day. Hand sanitizer. Trying to follow your mom's instructions. 0.1% less humans. That is a lot less people. The trajectory of a nuclear warhead. If 0.1% of all people's hearts stopped #X200B, 7.7 million deaths. In the 2000 US presidential election between George W. Bush and Al Gore, it came down to what was basically one state in the Electoral College. Whoever took Florida. https://n.wikipedia.org Wiki 2000 United States presidential election in Florida would have enough Electoral College votes to put them in the White House. Until the result in Florida was known, neither side could claim victory. And Florida was close. Like, really close. After recounts, and a contentious Supreme Court decision https://n.wikipedia.org wikibush.gore, it was determined that Bush had received 2,912,790 votes to Gore's 2,912,253. In short, the presidency was decided by just 537 votes out of 5.8 million, not a margin of 0.1%, but 0.01%. Depending on your view of the Bush administration, that may very well count as going horribly, catastrophically wrong. Legend has it that a rocket launched by NASA, more specifically Mariner 1, exploded during launch because of the omission of a single hyphen. That's less than 0.05%, 0.0005% of all the characters in the rocket's code. It cost $80 million to fix. Edit: I am being schooled by AskReddit. I know less than I thought. The amount of polonium in your body. A worker at my dad's metal processing plant made an error even smaller than that, I believe. It was a small metal part for machines that make plastics, so they need to be quite precise. They ran out of one metal length, so they were making the part out of a slightly longer metal to start with and just trimming more of it off for the final product. The initial trim left in excess of 100 microns, which even on a plate that is 1 inch in size is just something like 0.003% of the size. A worker failed to double-check since they were so accustomed to the normal metal size being used, and cleared the metal through for the final processing. Well, it turns out that excess 0.003% made the material unusable after it was finished, and it cost the company over $13,000. The strong nuclear force https://n.wikipedia.org Wiki-strong interaction, the force that holds the nuclei of atoms together. If the value changed even slightly, just about everything in the universe would cease to exist as we know it. We'd all become giant gas clouds. Isaac Asimov literally wrote a book about it. https://n.wikipedia.org. Wiki the gods themselves. Bach. There is something called the 1% rule of internet culture. https://n.wikipedia.org. Wiki 1% 25 rule internet culture, where it says that only 1% of users on a website are actively creating content while 99% of people lurk. If that went down by 1%, that would be a significant loss to the content most of us enjoy on a daily basis. A 0.1% daily increase in anything would be a disaster. Imagine every day you'd have 0.1% more cats. If there are, I don't know, 100 million cats now, there would be 144 million in a year. 3.8 billion in 10 years. 150 billion in 20. A million billion cats in 100 years. We'd all be knee-deep in a sea of cats. Accuracy of computers: 1 in every 1,000 bits gets interpreted incorrectly, the stock market would get ducked, flight would be impractical, and HD videos would be unwatchable. Edit. By impractical I don't mean impossible, I just mean that modern computation help with keeping things less messy. We could probably work things out with map, compass and radio. By unwatchable I mean that compression and decompression would make entire frames to not get loaded, and in general the color of many pixels would become different, resulting in a very ugly video. I thank you Spiral Divergence and Uwadani for correction specification. Edit 2. Another unpractical thing would be cable communication. As Yukai Long pointed out, I would like to specify that I am not very tech savvy, so I am very lost whenever one of you guys suggest a solution to the telecommunication problem. Edit 3. Thanks for all the comments and the karma. Programming. A small bug in code, like a spelling error, could theoretically bring down your application. Centrifuges for nuclear material, of course. The Eli 5 version is a virus was left on a USB in the parking lot of the Iranian nuclear program, which some poor schmuck popped into his work computer inside the high-security facility. It only changed a few small numbers to make the centrifuges operate slightly faster than is safe, to causing them to rip apart, destroying huge, important portions of some of the most expensive engineering in human history. It does basically nothing to non-nuclear material producing computers, which is good because it has unexpectedly spread all over the world and may even be on your machine. Source: https://n.wikipedia.org. Wikis If all of my poops left 0.1% of them inside me, I'd have a full poop left inside me roughly every 3 years. I'd be a walking septic tank by now. If 0.1% more women were attracted to me, that's still a lot more women worldwide, which could cause societal collapse. Disk space on Windows 10 computers with nearly full disk. Windows 10 often uses up several gigabytes of disk space to do things such as install updates, and leaves a safe buffer of just 256 MB. Now imagine that some Steam game releases an update, and you have 0 bytes left in seconds. And 0 bytes free means absolute disaster. It's not like you cannot put anything more on it. Absolutely nothing will save on the disk, and any attempt will generate an error. Websites won't load, because cache won't write to disk. Drivers will crash, because they tried to write some logs. When you turn off your computer, registry will get completely messed up, because it was a few bytes too large to store up. Theoretically, antivirus may fail database update, and start deleting everything. #X200B, and you'll end up having to reinstall Windows. 99.9% of a ship's hull without holes. Rice to water ratio. A lot of surgeries. Alcohol level in blood while driving. Don't drink and drive, kids. The concentration of CO2 in the air. All our current problems are a result of it rising from 0.02% to 0.04%. A rise of 0.1% would be beyond catastrophic. There would be no ice anywhere on Earth, the seas would rise hundreds of meters, humans would experience various permanent, long-term health effects. https://n.wikipedia.org Wiki carbon dioxide below 1% and presumably so would most other animals. Jungles would cover the entire Earth, including the poles, except where mountains block the rain, and there would be unbelievably hot deserts. Get ready for Category 6, 7, 8 hurricanes. We haven't experienced a climate like this since the Jurassic. It would be bad. Mail. If the USPs lost 0.1% of their mail, that would be 18,700 lost pieces of mail every day. Sending someone to Mars. Pi. Data on the planet. As of December 2018, there was an estimated 33 zettabytes of data globally. If we lost 0.1% of that, we'd lose 33 quintillion bytes of data. To put that in perspective, the Library of Congress is estimated to hold 10 terabytes of data in all printed material. 1 exabyte is 100,000 times all the printed material in the Library of Congress. The diameter of the door on your space airlock. If my kettle was off by 0.1% of a degree, my cup of tea would be embarrassingly underbrewed. If our DNA would be 0.1% off, we would be dolphins. My dad's thermostat. I keep seeing things on my news feed about the Apophis asteroid, which has a 145,000 chance of hitting us, 0.00002%, in 10 years. If it had a 0.10002% chance of hitting us, Elon Musk would be losing his shit right now. We believe that if the asteroid that killed the dinos was off by a few meters, there would still be dinos and humanity probably wouldn't have developed into what it is now. Edit. Since I don't have a solid source on what I just said, there's another thing, and that is that if the asteroid hit 30 seconds later than it did, dinos would still live too, because then the asteroid couldn't make the tsunami it did, and that helped greatly with the extinction of dinos.